And finally tonight on InfoWars Nightly News, I want to break down a story that showed up in headlines across the country and even as far away as England tonight. New alert system gives president special code for emergency messages. That's out of the Hill. The Daily Mail got it right, saying new emergency alert system will give Obama the power to flip a switch and address the entire nation at once. The Washington Post described it as something out of George Orwell's 1984. I'm one of the first people in the United States to start warning of this as far back as 1996, because broadcast engineers in radio stations that I was working in had been part of a Texas Association of Broadcast meetings where the feds, under Clinton's orders, were preparing to have it ready by 1999 so Bill Clinton could start overriding radio and TV broadcast, VHF, UHF, AM, FM, and be able to force his messages onto the air like something out of the old Soviet Union. A literal broadcast kill switch is what it did. It didn't allow the stations to tune to an emergency channel to put the president on. It had it where the systems couldn't work and were overridden by federal pieces of equipment at the tower and at the broadcast site. And I interviewed on air, changing their voices, multiple broadcast engineers, one of them very high level up. And since then, in films like Police State 2000, I exposed it in 1999. Now, in previous reports in the last 19 years, we've broken down the evil authoritarian applications of all of these systems. But I want to recap some of those for you now. This allows the state to begin the process of openly having state-run media, not just covertly funding the dinosaur media. And the Pentagon got the law changed last year to be able to engage in domestic deception or psyops here in the United States. But its real intention is to be able to cut off anything embarrassing, like Rand Paul and his filibuster being cut off across the world and across the United States in channels carrying U.S. media when he was engaged in his filibuster. That's what this is all about. Again, even the Washington Post, that we have linked here in our article from 2011, described it as something out of Orwell's 1984. This was already in place by then. It was in place in the late 90s, but expanded to be on smartphones, all computers, you name it. My phone, my Apple iPhone 5, that's really a portable computer, turns on now when the Obama alerts come in. And it's always about hurricanes or floods, something reasonable. But that could be done locally. It's setting the precedent so that people get accustomed to it, so we can begin to get the political messages. It was floated by the Association of Broadcasters nationally and right here in Texas back in 1996-97, that, again, there would be government programming, not just PSAs, routinely overriding hours a day. And that's what had the association so upset, and so they were able to get some of it backed off. That is not the case now. The feds are pushing for digital license plates that only cost a few dollars. The technology's gotten so cheap that have messages about who's wanted and images of people on your license plates. This is the Minority Report, Brave New World, and here's the big issue tonight. We have now come to the point where more and more of these alerts are being issued. We've now come to the point where they are clearly moving from the preparation phase to the operational phase, right as they start wars with Russia, right as they turn al-Qaeda and ISIS loose worldwide, right as they announce your kids don't belong to you, and as they open up the borders and begin to collapse the states, right as Obamacare comes into place, right as their entire agenda clicks into gear. Obama is their closer, like in the final inning of a baseball game, the closing pitcher. That's his position. That's why he is in the position he is in today. We as a people, we as a world, have to realize the critical juncture in history we're in. William Binney, one of the most high-level NSA people to ever go public, number 4 in the agency, went public to the London Guardian last Sunday and said it's about total authoritarian, totalitarian control. He used the word population control, totalitarianism, total control. Admit we're going into tyranny. We have a chance to beat it. A lot of you say, I don't care if there's tyranny. I'll go along with it. They only set a tyranny up, ladies and gentlemen, so they can take your pension funds. They're announcing bail-ins all over Europe and the U.S. We're going to start taking money out of your bank account. This is being put into place as they get ready to drop the hammer and break the back of this country once and for all. Well, again, that's it for this edition of InfoWars Nightly News. Lord willing, we'll be back tomorrow night, 7 o'clock Central, right here at InfoWarsNews.com. For myself, Alex Jones, Leanne McAdoo, and the rest of the great crew that hosted and produced the show tonight, if you're watching this transmission, my friends, you're just as important as we are. You are the resistance. The globalists have controlled the mainstream media for a long time, but now they're expanding, making the weaponization even more vicious and deceptive. All the major networks are state-run.
We are partnering this year with the NFL.
The NFL has become a political weapon against the Second Amendment and pushes Obamacare. MSNBC tells us that our children belong to the state.
We have to break through our kind of private idea that kids belong to their parents or kids belong to their families and recognize that kids belong to whole communities.
The brainwashing media machine has been turned up on high, and it's time for humanity to double down on the true people's media and strike back against the tyrants that are destroying our civilization with their lies and fraud. We are the resistance. You are the resistance. You are the info war. It is more important than ever to realize that we are not the alternative media. We are the true media. The establishment dinosaur press is dying.
We are in an information war, and we are losing that war.
Join us at InfoWarsNews.com and PrisonPlanet.tv. Members can share their memberships with up to 11 people. By subscribing, you will literally be buying war bonds in the info war to expand our operation in the face of the tyrants. Join us at PrisonPlanet.tv.